Hello, hello, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to another live session with FASA. I'm Romany Thresher, and joining me today is Miss Marisa van der Merwe, who is the CEO and founder of Mini Chess. Marisa developed the award-winning educational program Mini Chess over her years of working her passion in the human spirit and in early childhood development. She won the ShopRite Checkers Women's Award in 2012 in the category for education and participated in the Women in the World Summit 2013 in New York and also presented at the London Chess and Educational Conference in 2013, as well as the ACEI's poster presentation in Vancouver in 2014. In 2014, Marisa established a Mini Chess small business structure, empowering individuals to run the program inside their own communities while creating jobs and nurturing entrepreneurship. So hello and welcome, Marisa.
Good morning. Thank you. Wonderful to be here, Romany. It's such an honor to be on this platform.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, and hello to everyone out there who is joining us today. If you're watching, let us know, say hello. If you feel this will be handy and useful to anyone you know in your network, in your community, in your friends, your colleagues, please share with your friends and let them know about this chat. If it is especially useful for people who have children, people who are wanting to have children in the future, because today we are going to be talking about the future of education, where education is at, and what that means for us going forward. You know, 2020 will go down in the history as a complete societal disruptor of the world as we know it, not only in health and social construct, but mostly in the world of work and education and in training. It is impacting each one of us currently and will continue to impact each and every one going forward. Whether you decide to coast along or even if you try to ignore it, you can't really ignore it. You must decide whether you are going to jump in and direct your course going forward. That decision only you can decide and make for yourself. So yes, I agree. The world has been a major disruption. A lot of companies have had to move and migrate online. And yes, the world as we know it is changing, and it's going to change even more with the 5G, artificial intelligence, and robotics. So Marisa, what is Mini Chess franchise? And let's have a chat about the education.
Yeah, I think let's start with the why. It's very important for us to know why we are in this business. It's our guideline and our guiding light, really, for where we're going. We've got a business in people empowerment. It's about human capacity. This is not the first disaster in the world, and it will not be the last. People through the ages have experienced huge change and disruption. And the thing that actually carries us forward through the ages is the human spirit, the ability to be flexible, the ability to have courage, the ability to move forward in spite of unknown circumstances. It's not unique. The disruption that we have now in the world is huge. It was very fast. It was very quick. It was kind of like, boom, the 1st of January 2020, the world looked like this. And the 1st of July 2020, the world looks completely different. It's a very fast disruption that takes place, but it's not the last. Our business, our Mini Chess stable of programs to develop human capacity, is about unlocking that unique, authentic capacity seated in each one of us, and start young with that. Because you know what? I wrote down a little quote about from Khalil Gibran that he talked about our children. And today, every parent in the world is uncertain about this. Every teacher in the world is uncertain. Every government in the world, every school in the world is uncertain about how to teach our children so that they will thrive in a world which we don't even know what's going to look like in 5 years. That's a huge challenge. It's sitting on our table. We have to address it. So Khalil Gibran said more than 100 years ago, he said of our children, he said, their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit not even in your dreams. So this is an age-old thing. And we have to look at where we're sitting with our education system. 2 months ago already, they published 1.4 billion children globally are doing formal homeschooling.
Wow.
1.4 billion.
Sure.
The classroom has moved. It's not the same.
Yes.
It's not the same as 100 years ago. It's not the same. 100 years ago, the previous century, the teacher was the source of knowledge. And we send our children into a classroom to learn from the teacher. Now the classroom no longer has four walls. The teacher is no longer the source, the only source or the main source of knowledge. It's completely changed. It will never go back. It's something we need to know. So when we are a parent or a teacher and we are looking at the situation in front of us and we want to make a progressive contribution to take this forward, we should not do it in fear. We don't have to be fearful. I'm a great believer in the direction that we take, a strategic thinker. It's always about direction. It's not about speed. It doesn't matter if we move fast or we move slow, as long as we move in the right direction. It's very, very important. The worst thing we can do now is to wait for someone else. There's a brilliant Chinese quote. You probably know it. I so often refer to it. There's this Chinese quote that says, "You will stand on a hill for a very long time with your mouth open before a roasted chicken flies into it." Stop that immediately. Close your mouth, get down, get the chicks going, do it. Roast them, grow them, do it yourself. No one's going to do it. It is the same in our education. If you're an educator, a leader, a business leader in education, if you're a parent today, and you've got the future of your child at heart, we have to start doing the right things. And the first thing for us to do is to believe in their capacity. I've worked with young children preschool. We started 4-year-olds. They are clever. They are amazing. They have courage. They are so adjustable. If I can say, in this time when much learning went home or went out of the classroom and children moved out of the school, they adapted much quicker than their parents. They're ready. They're ready to try new things.
They are.
And we have to be careful, that we don't we don't tie their hands. Knowledge today is outside the classroom.
It is, and I think it comes from all sorts of different sources. And I think, if I reflect on my own childhood, there was not a lot of confidence. Parents don't seem to encourage their children to learn. Some do and some don't, or they don't. How do I put it? It's almost like you're the child and you must just listen to me and do what I say. You know what I mean? And while a lot of that is appropriate, it's also very different. And I think moving into a world of technology, it really is a very different world out there that we need to embrace. And like you said, you have to do it for yourself. I mean, nobody gave me a helping hand. I mean, yes, I had some fortunate opportunities and my parents looked after me and great, but I had to make it happen for myself. I had to learn for the things myself. I had to self-study. I didn't go to university. I didn't have that fortunate opportunity. I had to educate myself. And I think also this is the challenge we have with a lot of people is that, we expect handouts or we expect people just to do it for us, and it's not going to work that way. It just isn't. That's not the world we live in. If you don't do it for yourself, you are never going to get anywhere. And that's just that's what I feel and have seen and observed. Those who get somewhere in life are those who are actually busy doing it, and they're actually getting on with it.
Of course. So we have to stop moaning about this, so that the teacher is not responsible for your child's education.
No.
You are responsible for your child's education and for giving him the opportunities to learn. The teacher is, of course, part of your support team if you're a parent, the structure that governments put there, that schools, the support that they give. But, the task is sitting on your desk. There is this well-known African, I know there's a well-known African saying that if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. So we are together in this. It's a very important thing for us. We're not alone in it. And if we sometimes feel, so I don't know what to do, I'm incapable, I can't teach my child, that one must teach my child, or this one must teach my child. No, you don't have to teach your child, but you have to give him the opportunities to learn. And gone is the time when I drop my child at the school and I wash my hand. If my child is not doing well, that's the teacher's problem. It's not.
No.
It's not. It is in our human interest. So our business, the Mini Chess enterprise group of business, we focus and invest in the development of human capacities for humans to thrive in the time of smart machines. There's many things. Human capacities, if I can just maybe clarify that term, because it's such a big word, human capacities. But what it is really is the things that machines can't do. It's creativity, creative problem solving, being solution seeking, finding a strategic purpose in what I'm doing, building teams or groups of people successfully that are motivated and supported to take a concept further. There are things that machines can't do. Machines and smart machines, the time we live in, they are becoming a workforce in their own right. And they are actually driving the innovation in the workplace. And we shouldn't see it as a threat. It is great. And it's people who designed them. And the designing of machines is only valuable if it serves human life. So machines is not a threat. It is part of our life. No? It's great.
We got to get used to it. We got to get used to it. Yeah,
it's
think about the internet. I mean, that's just one invention that has just brought so much of the world together. It's presented a whole bunch of opportunities. I mean, when I explore the internet these days, I'm just amazed at how much opportunities are out there. But you have to take the time to go and explore them. You have to invest in yourself if you want to obtain or grab onto some of those opportunities that are sitting out there. And yes, I'd also believe that it's the parents' responsibility to nurture and invest in a child's education, and not just monetary or financial or sending them off to school, but there's so much more about taking guard and notice about how you are preparing your child for the world of the future, or how are you preparing your child as an adult to be a responsible adult who is contributing to society.
This is a very, very important discussion. And if I can say to parents, because many of our clients are schools and headmasters and teachers, or parents who enter their program, their children, or even corporates who enter their professionals into training programs. This is very important. You don't need to know everything.
No,
you don't need to know everything.
No.
But you need to guide. You need to guide, and what our children need today, because knowledge doesn't have to be seated in you. Knowledge doesn't have to be seated in the teacher anymore. It is not seated in the teacher. It's not also seated in us. Our children are living in a different world. There's new opportunities. There's other things that we actually know very little about. But we have to teach our children who they are so that they can discern. There's a lot of knowledge out there, but a lot of it is also rubbish and nonsense and actually. So what we do need to, and the position that teachers and parents need to take today, is not to put your child on the YouTube and there you go.
No.
The child needs to learn his values. What's right or wrong for me? Where do I want to go? What is my purpose? Who am I? But it also takes courage to go into these platforms and search for knowledge. So a teacher's role, if there's still going to be classrooms going forward, and I think there will, because it's not going to change completely, cannot be, because humans still learn most effective from other humans.
Mm.
The human connection is a very powerful thing, and that is where we learn most effectively. So, for instance, our programs make use of play innovations as a platform for learning. And play is such a powerful platform. That is from the beginning of humankind, the way in which children learn. And even in the animal kingdom, young animals play. And through their play, they learn skills. They learn to be skillful and innovative. And they learn their limits. They learn a lot about themselves. So this is a powerful platform that we use, play innovations, to develop human capacities. But most of all, and first of all, we need courage. And if we take away from our children their inquisitive spirit, we take away the courage to try, to manage risk, to take risks, and to fail and to learn from it. It's fine. We have to move away from the education system that's over assessment driven, information driven, rote memory driven. It's out, it's gone. You can find information. We all need basic. We need to be able to read. We need to be able to write. We need to be able to do mathematics. It's very important. It's not wrong to have knowledge, not at all. I'm just saying those become tools in the life as we move forward. It doesn't become, I teach this to you for the purpose of teaching you something. It's not good enough. That is becoming irrelevant. And you often find this actually accusation from youngsters who dropped out of school that says, I'm a 21st century student. I'm being taught by a 20th century teacher who can't even navigate a computer. And while I go and I design things on the internet in the afternoon, I have to listen to this and this instruction, this group. It doesn't talk to me anymore. So that gap, we have to bridge it. And I'm all behind the teacher. We are all teachers. We are all teachers. Whether we're an official teacher or not, we are all teachers. And teachers today has got a huge, huge task because they also have to innovate the way in which they teach in a fast changing, completely disrupted, reimagined education system. And this is where we really are. There's not a country in the world who doesn't have this discussion now. Difficult to change. Change has always been a threat to all of us because it's nice when we have our timetables and our clock is going to, and this is the curriculum, and it's very nice to have that. No longer relevant because children are different and they need to go into different directions. But we have to teach them, first of all, who they are, their values, their capacity, their abilities, so that they can move forward with courage. Because they are going to live in a world that's different from the one that we live in.
Very much so, very much so. If you've got any questions, please let us know. You can comment in the comment box, and to remember to give us a like and a share if you appreciate this conversation. So we're going to just change the topic a little bit, going on to what Mini Chess does and how Mini Chess, the company, has adjusted to the new normal. So how have you adjusted to the new normal?
Yeah, no, we jumped in. I mean, I think the lockdown was announced the last week in March, and the first week in April, we had our first online training. So although the Mini Chess program and the Mindcode program, a stable of programs that we have for the different age groups in our company, are geared towards human engagement and participation, and including all learning styles. That's neuro-based, which includes social interaction, it includes movement, it includes touch and reading and writing and visual stimulation and all of those things. Although it includes all of those things, it's not easy to include all learning styles in an online. Our Mini Chess teachers and trainers and franchisees, they immediately jumped onto our new initiative, and from the first week of the lockdown, we have a strategy to go into a place where we can still reach our clients, our children, our beneficiaries, and our programs, our parents, link up with them immediately, link up to our schools. Whether the schools are out and closed, we still support them, we still communicate. We move into a system of support. It's really the character of our company. Its strength is in the system and the support that we give each other. And that is still up to date Still the lockdown 4 months later, we are still communicating, supporting. So we went directly into Mini Chess Online. We immediately launched it. It went through a pilot period. And now, as I speak to you now, yesterday we had our first test of our own MC platform, which is specifically made for training and using our play platforms on that brilliant platform. I can't wait. We're going to still test it for the rest of this month. We're probably going to launch by the end of this month. Great stuff. Now, we are reaching our children weekly. We work with our parents, part of our team, to reach our children, connect with our children in our Mini Chess program. The area of big concern, though, is for us to reach the rural and deep rural child. So if I can say this is a global phenomenon, the resourced child's education actually continued through lockdown. But disadvantaged community, poor communities, rural and deep rural communities, where we also take our programs together with the Trust Foundation as a non-profit inside the Mini Chess enterprise. I'm very proud to be part of it, and the excellent results we get with community partners. Very difficult to reach people because the data, the cost of data, also the hardware, the software that they need to access lessons. So we actually immediately started training our network of people in the rural communities as well. Started with lessons that they could prepare and make small little videos that they could put on WhatsApp and send, but there is a cost, and there's also a cost to the parents. So that is not as successful as with the resourced communities. But even in resourced communities, if you go online with your teaching and training, you're not reaching all the children. And many parents are challenged also with data cost. And
I think
children. Yeah. So it's not easy. If people ever thought that the online teaching is now the new reality, is also not. There's still a lot of challenges for education as it's moving forward. I know the big corporates are giving zero-rated portals. We also established a portal, but still not zero-rated, so that students at universities, for instance, can get their information through when they don't have much data. So the process has started to capacitate children who cannot be easily reached, like in resource communities. So we did immediately, if I can say in 2 ways, we immediately adjusted our implementation in our company. The first is to go online, and the second is to start connecting with people regularly, supporting them where they are, helping them. We also had a lot of other things. We adjusted our cost structures to help people, our clients. There was a lot of ways in which we supported our communities in the lockdown.
I think one of the things that perhaps internet providers and perhaps government need to do is actually start stepping up and providing that internet structure. I mean, 5G is now with us, it's here. And I think the internet providers need to start, or companies and corporates need to start actually looking at ways for reducing the cost of internet, to the point that, because in some countries, it's a human right to have internet, to have access to free internet. And perhaps South Africa also needs to make that move into developing and making sure that we've made great strides, I have to say, but I think more can be done, especially meeting the rural communities, people in the remote, because I know from personal experience, having access to the internet has transformed my life. It has changed my life tremendously. So for me, I would rather spend money on having an internet connection than, say, going out and having a party, or going out and spending money on that Nike shoes or whatever, on brand items. Because for me, the value of the internet means education for me, just having access. And it's like I can honestly say to you that no matter where I am in the world, as long as I have an internet connection, I'm in business. I'm in a good position. So yes, If we can encourage, maybe as educators, as business owners, as people, as parents, we need to make a push for getting internet to be a basic human right in South Africa. That's just my view on that. What is your view? Let us know. Ranal is letting us know, no longer nice to have. It's a necessity in enhancing the development of our upcoming and junior leaders of the future. And I agree. It is. It's a necessity. And Eve is saying this is education of the future, and government needs to step in and assist in rural areas. So I agree, because I know a lady who works as an NGO. They also train entrepreneurs in the rural communities, and that is one of their biggest challenges, is not having access to the data. Is expensive. It's unaffordable for people to be able to connect and do business.
Yeah, if I can just maybe add something at this point in this discussion, there has been studies done that show that just giving free internet in an area actually didn't also enhance children's learning. So I just want to say something about this. We must not neglect the human contribution. This is very important. There were studies done on the comparison between children in disadvantaged communities and children in resource communities, and the kind of internet use that they do. And they found that children in a supportive community would use the internet actually very productively for learning things and researching things and doing things that benefited them. But they also found that often, and actually a huge percentage of children in unresourced communities that just got internet for free, they didn't use that wisely. Actually, it was not actually even good for them. So I have to say that we have to never forget, it's not the machine. It's not the machine that will do it. I can't give my child a laptop and internet and it's going to happen by itself. We have to understand our role as humans, because in the end, it's about the human capacities that will make that child flourish. You know, in 5 years, 10 years from now, we don't know what the world is going to look like. So what are we going to teach our children now if we don't know what skills they're going to need? We have to teach them to capacitate their abilities. In whatever the world would look like, they will flourish.
Absolutely. And I agree with you there. It's a very good point, because you've got to point people in the right direction, almost point them or navigate them into saying, you know, have you explored this? Because often when I speak to people and they don't have internet, or they've just started getting internet, they're actually astounded at what's out there. But you have to kind of encourage them, because it's such a minefield. And yes, a lot of people can leave their children to just go on the internet and do what they want. And, you know, you don't know what you want unless you haven't, you know, unless you've been encouraged or thought about it or given some thought of direction. So yeah, no, I agree with you in that area.
So quote, a month ago there was the WISE conference, International WISE conference, and Gordon Brown, the UN envoy for education, he said health is now the priority, but education is the solution. If we don't invest in education now, we won't have engineers later. We won't have doctors later. We won't have professionals later. We won't. This gap, and what's happened in other countries over the last 10 years, where there were big disasters and children were taken out of school for months, is that it had a ripple out effect. And because what could probably happen, especially in disadvantaged communities or in resource communities, but where children were not guided and children were not stimulated and encouraged to learn, and is that children often don't go back to school afterwards. They don't see the point. In rural communities, children become part of the income generation for the family, or they look after the gogo, or they look after the cattle, and they don't go back to school. Or if they go back to school, they really don't see the point, and they don't do well, or they fail. And when a child starts to fail at school, or he finds it difficult, it will not be long before he drops out. I don't know if you know that our country's dropout from grade R to matric is between 70 and 80%.
Sure, that's a high.
Before COVID. So this has got a huge challenge for us to correct. And we designed in our program using play, we designed a COVID corrective structure. And we've got education, university studies proven that, to help children to correct those backlogs. We have to do the right things. And remember, it's always the right time to do the right things. We must do the right things, not the cheap and quick, the right thing.
Yeah. I agree. Sure, we're running out of time, and but we're just going to carry on for a few minutes longer. I just want to ask Marisa one more question. And Eve is saying that it's true. In the Philippines, they have a lot of internet cafes, and all the children who go there just sit and play games all day. So yes, and there is a method in gaming, but there's also a strategy in gaming. So playing games all day might be fruitful for some to some point, but it also could be not fruitful. So Marisa, mini chess, if someone is interested in a mini chess franchise, what are the next steps to becoming a mini franchisee?
Yeah, we've got different structures to accommodate people, but we work with local partners. We call them franchisees or sub-franchisees if it's smaller areas. And we would like people to contact us at info@minichess.co.za for more detailed information. But our structure, the way in which we do business, is to empower in-community entrepreneurs to run their own business successfully while they are benefiting their community. You know, I'm a strong believer that you can really only build up a community from inside. That is where we have to start. It has to be culturally relevant. It has to be a real connection between people. And for that reason, our programs are adjustable like that. So we work through a system of entrepreneurs, in-community entrepreneurs, franchisees, which we support very strong. It's not a normal franchise system, very supportive, to train people, give them the equipment so they can do the program in their communities and generate for them income while they are part of education, innovation for the 21st century.
Excellent. Well, we're coming to a close. And just one last thing before we close. What has it been for you to be a FASA member?
I mean, you know what? I'm so glad about this organization, really, because I am very much a people's person and educator at heart. So when we started this business structure, I was very up in the air. I didn't have the structures, the language, I didn't know. So FASA was such a good guideline for us because there's a guideline on ethics, on business structure, on contracting and all of that. FASA, the fact that we're a full FASA member, Mini Chess, has been hugely beneficial to us. And I really want to thank FASA also for this platform where franchisees can come and talk about what they do and how they do it and why they do it. It's very, very important. And I appreciate the opportunity today to take part in this very important discussion on education and our children and a sustainable future for them.
Excellent. Thank you, Marisa. If you want to contact Mini Chess and find out more about the opportunities, either for your child or perhaps as a franchisee, we've left the a link in the comment box for you to click on where you can send them a message for ease of use. And that brings us to a close. So if you think this is helpful to someone you know, please like and share. Let us know what you thought about it. And if you've got any questions, you can ask questions in the comment box and we will make sure we pass it on to Marisa at Mini Chess. So once again, we've come to a close at the end, and just to remind you, I'm just going to end with this comment as well. Renal says that she's proud to be part of the Mini Chess franchise structure and the leadership we receive from Marisa on an ongoing basis. So thank you very much. So thank you for sharing that with us, Renal. And as a reminder, FASA is a non-profit organization that protects, lobbies, promotes and develops ethical franchising across all sectors in South Africa with a specific focus on transformation. FASA offers membership to both existing franchisors and franchisees who supports and runs ethical businesses. If you want to know more about FASA and what they do, please visit them at www.fasa.co.za. So thank you for joining us, and remember, join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. to talk about franchising, to meet franchisors and discuss business in general. So thank you for supporting us, and have a super week further going forward. Thank you for joining us. Bye.